You are listening to Power Marketing with Kevin Lee. Kevin and his agency Did It have helped thousands of businesses win through superior marketing, as have his books, articles, speaking engagements, and the E-Marketing Association Power Marketing podcasts. Here's Kevin.
I'm here today with Gretchen Saegh-Fleming, who's the Chief Commercial Officer at Hydrow. And not everybody probably knows what Hydrow is, although I've been very heavily targeted by Facebook advertising. So I'm very familiar with Hydrow. And I've got a friend, Peter Shankman, who's a huge fan of Hydrow. So I've been exposed to Hydrow, but maybe not everyone is. And so what's the elevator pitch you give to Hydrow when you're at a cocktail party and people don't know what you guys are?
Sure, Kevin. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here today. Hydrow is the leading at-home connected rower, and we stream live workouts led by world-class athletes from incredible waterways around the world. Now, rowing machines have been around, for hundreds of years, but they've been largely unchanged since the 1980s, and they've never really successfully captured until now what it feels like to be on the water in a boat with your teammates. And our founder, Bruce Smith, is the former rower and U.S. national team coach and spent years of his life watching really the profound physical and emotional impact that rowing had on people. And that idea of the mental and emotional connection comes from, being with your teammates in a boat in what is really the ultimate team sport crew. So he set out to truly democratize that sport and make that feeling accessible to people in their living rooms. Hydrow is the first and only rower that actually captures the splash and sweat of being on the water and delivers a truly immersive, connected experience.
So obviously the last couple of years have been pretty crazy, and then you sort of came on board with Hydrow sort of mid-pandemic, if I remember correctly. But 2022 is a year where people are sort of thinking through, do I want to join a gym? Do I want to continue to outfit my home gym? Has your marketing plan adapted to the sort of changing desires of the fitness enthusiast?
Sure. So, of course, we're really close to those consumer trends, but what we're finding is that just like work is going hybrid, everyone's life is going hybrid, and that includes fitness. And 2/3 of people who've worked out at home during the pandemic have stated their definitive desire to continue to do so, even if that's supplemented with some return to the gym. So it's really created an enormous opportunity for us as consumers continue to outfit their at-home gym environments. And we've really seen and continue to see steady demand and growth, even as COVID restrictions relax.
Yeah, that's fascinating. If I remember correctly, you were at L'Oreal for ages before Hydrow, and one of my favorite taglines from L'Oreal was the "You're worth it" tagline. And I sort of feel like higher end fitness equipment it sort of embodies a lot of that as well, because for many years I remember sort of some of the fitness equipment people were buying was perfectly suited to be a clothes rack at home, but really not perfectly suited to actually give you a good workout. But people have now realized that they're worth it, right? Their fitness is worth it, and so they're willing to invest in their fitness. Do you think about that tagline as you sort of think about your marketing, or do you use L'Oreal's best in practices when you think about Hydrow at all?
Yeah, of course. I mean, L'Oreal is one of the preeminent consumer brands, right? And it's become a love brand, and largely around that tagline of "because you're worth it." And of course, we as marketers, we carry our experiences from one organization and one brand into the next. One of the things that has very positively surprised me and continues to surprise me about Hydrow is just the incredible power of the love brand and the word of mouth. So the story you told me that you've heard about Hydrow from a member is not unusual. Word of mouth continues to be one of our primary drivers of business. We're still growing our awareness. We're early in that journey as a brand. But our net promoter score is 87. Best in class brands like Apple have a 75. So there is something really that resonates with consumers about the Hydrow experience. And we believe strongly really two things. One, to start with the best form of connected fitness, you have to start with the best form of exercise. And, a lot of people don't know this, but rowing is such an efficient form of exercise. You use 86% of your muscles. We like to say 90% if you smile. It's cardio and strength. And what that means is that, you get the equivalent of, call it an hour's worth of workout on a treadmill or a bike in 20 minutes on a hydro. And, that me time, that invest in myself time, we hear over and over and over again from consumers the same insight, which is that after they spend their morning working out on a hydro, they feel like a better, stronger, clearer, more self-assured version of themselves as they go out into their day. And in our recent brand campaign, we named that feeling the Hydrow High. And it really is, continuing to invest in yourself and to take your workout with you into the better part of your day, and hopefully as a better and stronger version of yourself. I'm a data point of one, but probably my team and my kids would both tell you that I'm more relaxed, I make better decisions, and I'm more engaged, and I have more fun on the days when I get my hydro workout in the morning.
It was interesting. You mentioned rowing in comparison to treadmills, and there had been a shift in Google Trends from people being less interested in running and more interested in treadmills, and maybe that was that sort of move indoors during the pandemic. But it's fascinating that for many of the muscle groups and for overall exercise, that rowing is actually better. I know that I prefer rowing just because it's lower impact. Right. Well, once I passed 50, the idea of running more than, let's say, 3 miles is less enticing. My knees don't like it.
Yeah, I'm a former marathoner as well, and it can be punishing. So on your body, running especially. So rowing is one of the perfect companions as a cross training routine, and even for warm up and cool down. In these warmer months when people are wanting to get outside and go on a bike ride or go on a run, it's interesting that rhythmic motion of rowing reminds me a lot of the Zen that I feel when I go for a run. And I really do feel that hydro high, and it helps keep me balanced as well as strong, right?
That's absolutely. But I don't always put enough time in. I have a water rower, but it's not nearly as sophisticated as a hydro. But I sometimes bail out before I reach that Zen level. So I'll have to put a little more time in when I'm doing my rowing.
Well, and that's the second really core belief at Hydrow. The first is that to create the best form of connected fitness, you have to start with the best form of exercise. And the second one is the best workout is the one that you want to do, that keeps you engaged and you have fun. And, we do really hear over and over again from our member base that connection to other members in the community and the connection to our athletes. And really that emotional connection, I think, has been critically important, especially over the last couple of years, as people have been trapped at home and seeking that sense of emotional connection in the world and with others.
Great. Switching to marketing a little bit more. When I've had fitness marketing clients in the past, we've always sort of tried to make sure that the first thing we accomplished was harvesting all the existing demand that we could. Right. So that tends to be heavily search focused because people express their intent with a search query, and you want to make sure you're there for that. And then as you move up funnel, right, you're moving into people who may or may not, be in market at that instant in time. They're not engaged in a search query. And so obviously, you'll have people who are interested in rowers, but then you might have people who are interested in something else. But rowing would be a great substitute or a great addition to their fitness regimen. So how do you sort of think about your buy funnel with regards to sort of as you move from direct response marketing into mid funnel and into branding and awareness? Sort of how are you thinking about capturing those people at the right time with the right message?
Sure. Well, driving brand awareness, especially we're a brand that's, 2.5, 3 years old. We're still at the beginning of our journey. And so building awareness And getting the word out about Hydrow remains one of the critical priorities for us. We launched our first 360-degree campaign over the holidays. I mentioned called the Hydrow High. And as we look forward into 2022 and the continuation of that story, brand awareness will continue to play a big role for us. It takes consumers, especially at a highly considered price point, like a piece of connected fitness equipment. It takes several touches over a period of time to, first of all, become aware of the brand, where in a lot of cases, we're educating people about rowing as that most efficient form of exercise. People learned to run or to bike as kids, and rowing hasn't been as accessible to people as a form of exercise, which is, again, part of why we're here to democratize the sport. And surprisingly, 9 out of 10 of our members have little to no experience with rowing. So they're really learning about it through our marketing and or through our members largely. And so, I think as we continue to grow and build the equity in the brand, that awareness media across channels will become continually more and more important. Excuse me.
Yeah, I love the idea of democratizing rowing, because I think, particularly with crew, bring up crew type rowing as opposed to rowboat type rowing, and people think of the Winklevoss twins, right? So that's sort of their view of rowing, and I think it is important to sort of bring people on that journey, right, through learning about rowing, and the fact that it's not just something that happens at Ivy League universities.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a large part of why we're so excited when Kevin Hart called us and asked to get more involved in the brand. And that came about very organically. He owned a Hydrow. He really loves his machine. As a matter of fact, he was in Europe for several months over the course of the summer and insisted on us getting a rowing machine into his hotel room because he's used to using it every day in Los Angeles. And so, he really came to us with a lot of energy and passion. And I think you hear his authentic excitement for the product and the brand when he speaks about Hydrow, but he really represents the democratization of rowing, right? You typically think that's a sport for 6'5" white Ivy Leaguers, and Kevin's 5'4" and from a rough neighborhood in Philadelphia. And that's exactly the diversity and the inclusivity that we're looking to bring as we democratize the sport of rowing.
Are you hoping that additional sort of spokespeople just float to the surface? Apparently, he it wasn't, and it doesn't seem like it was a marketing outreach, that he just sort of you became aware of each other's interests at the same time, or are you actually proactively reaching out for VIPs and influencers?
Honestly, the organic passion for the brand and that net promoter score, we see that with everyday members just as well as we see it with celebrities. And so, stay tuned.
Well, I guess that you're automatically using micro influencers if you've got members who are acting as micro influencers for you.
We do, and we find actually that they drive 2 specific points in the funnel. The first is making people aware of the brand. Again, we're new on that journey and still building awareness. And so a lot of people have the experience like you shared, where a Hydrow member tells them about the brand and about the experience for the first time. And then we also find that, and this is very intuitive, ratings and reviews play a big part in getting people confident and trusted in terms of the brand and the product and the value towards the bottom of the funnel when they're about ready to make a purchase. And we find that member testimonial acts as kind of a live rating and review that does drive conversion when people are considering Hydrow.
That's great. What marketing channels have you most excited for 2022 as you sort of plan out your campaigns?
The first true 360-degree campaign that we've done as a brand was over this past holiday, 2021. It was really the first time leaning into some broadcast channels. Linear TV, we leaned hard into connected TV, some out of home as well. More of that to come as we continue to evolve the brand in 2022.
Well, now that you've always been a fitness buff based on your bio and based on what you've mentioned here. So, are there any fitness marketing campaigns over the years that you think really resonated with you, or that you just thought were particularly effective?
Yeah, I mean, Nike's Just Do It campaign is the gold standard, right? I mean, it's universal. It's a very clear call to action. I think that the way that they've been able to iterate in different chapters of that has been really brilliant, and they continue to keep it relevant and fresh. And another one, this is slightly outside of the category, but always did an incredible campaign a handful of years ago called Like a Girl. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Sure.
But it aimed at breaking down gender stereotypes, and the consumer insight was that during the teenage years is when girls lose self-confidence. And I've always been hyper aware of these stereotypes and the biases that exist within corporate culture and society at large. So I really appreciated a major brand taking an approach head on to challenge those gender stereotypes. And, just personally, I remember vividly being 5 years old and my dad talking to me about the importance of offering a firm handshake when meeting someone new. And it's a practice that I've maintained my entire life, especially in my corporate career. And I can't tell you the number of times I've taken someone's hand and they say, "Oh, that's quite a handshake. Are you a golfer or something?" As if strength or self-assuredness are surprising female traits. And, I believe strongly as a marketer that words matter. And that campaign really illustrated that in a very beautiful, positive way.
So for fitness equipment and for many other forms of marketing, marketers like to create at least one or two personas which sort of define their power customer, the customer that not only purchases but has a big lifetime customer value. Have you had a chance, you don't have as much data as a newer brand that perhaps L'Oreal had with regards to personas, but have you started to build personas about what your perfect customer looks like?
Yeah, of course, that's some of the most foundational work that I initiated in terms of research when I first joined the brand. And very interestingly, what we find is that our Hydrow members over-index in people who love to work out and people who need to work out. The love to work out is pretty intuitive, right? People who really like to be challenged from a physical fitness perspective want that high intensity experience and the efficiency of a full body workout with rowing. The need to work out is quite interesting. And in fact, it's really about the time efficiency. So there's a whole bunch of reasons why people might work out, for stress management, they're, aging and want to focus on their health, keeps them balanced in terms of their overall lifestyle. And because of that efficiency, because you can get the equivalent of a full hour workout in 20 minutes on a rowing machine, and it's both cardio and strength, it allows people to basically use that other 40 minutes to do anything else, get out into the world, spend time with their children, whatever the case might be. So the efficiency of the workout really plays to both of those two consumer profiles.
That's great. And given that one of those profiles is the need to work out profile, and often I would imagine the catalyst for bringing that to the attention of the individual is a medical professional or a physical therapist or someone along those lines who may also not be educated on rowing yet. So have you sort of sliced off a little bit of your marketing energies into taking those types of influencers and educating them on the benefits of rowing?
Honestly, the biggest point of education in the journey for Hydrow is around understanding that rowing is the most efficient workout. And then, of course, why Hydrow is the best rower. And that's largely due to the connected, really immersive experience and the fact that we bring it to you live out in nature, and that we stream to your living room, either on demand or live with athletes that are driving the workouts, puts us in a best position to capitalize. But by and large, that education about rowing is the most efficient workout is pretty consistent across the various consumer segments.
Do you see gyms as playing a role as well? Some other, high-end fitness brands have sort of put a big focus on getting their equipment into gyms, even though it's a registration-based model where you have to register to get a personalized experience. Is that factoring into your marketing plans as well?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as we move into a post quarantine environment, as a fitness brand, Hydrow wants to be everywhere that our consumers are. And we started the conversation by saying people are returning to gyms, and so it's really important, and I think a big opportunity for us as a brand to build awareness, specifically within a fitness-focused community in those gym environments.
Great. And final questions, really more on advice to other marketers that are dealing with high consideration, higher price point, more complex purchases with their consumers. So how do you think they should treat their marketing plans differently than sort of an impulse purchase type product or service?
It's really interesting. As marketers, we're often thinking about driving scale. And especially with these highly considered and experiential type products, leaning into the tribe and focusing on the quality of the one-to-one connection, both between our brand Hydrow and our members, as well as our members' connections with each other. Really, there's so much power in that, and there's so much power in fueling word of mouth. We did one of our first in real life events in October at the Head of the Charles, which is sort of the Kentucky Derby of crew racing in the United States. And obviously that hadn't occurred for 2 years over quarantine. So it was kind of a big return. And we were really positively surprised by the turnout. We had a number of members fly in, some who had become friends on social media groups around their shared experience and love for Hydrow. And, we just continue to see that true love for the brand and the connection between one member and another, and the network effect of that continues to be one of the most powerful vehicles of building and scaling a love brand.
Great. Well, I guess marketers should embrace the power of social in all its layers, right? You guys actually have integrated social, a form of social media into the brand itself. So it'll be interesting to see how other marketers pull that off. Thanks so much for joining me. It was a pleasure brainstorming about marketing and learning about Hydrow.
It was a pleasure talking to you, Kevin. And if I can give you the opportunity to try one of our machines, we'd be delighted.
I'll absolutely want to do that. Yes, I'm a big fan of rowing, and time is also my most valuable asset. So if I can slice a few minutes off of my workouts, that's a win.
Terrific. Thanks again.
Kevin Lee's Power Marketing is available on all your favorite podcast networks. Kevin loves helping businesses excel at marketing. Having marketing challenges? Just like Santa in The Miracle on 34th Street, if Kevin can't help you, he'll know someone who can. Find him on LinkedIn, subscribe, or follow.